It's Friday, November 7th. I'm Jim Check. With me, Ian Burns. We're about an hour late. We had some issues. I had that big interview this morning with the Interior Health CEO, an exclusive interview. And Ian Burns is dealing with what all fathers have to deal with. Sometimes you got to look after the little ones.
Yeah, although it's a joy with my little daughter, I must say.
There you go. We should have her on.
Yeah, I think she would offer some insights for sure.
Maybe into the budget. Lots going on, though. Lots going on. We got a really big show, obviously, on the Really Big Show. We got a really big show. The world's largest economies have moved on from climate hysteria. Canada kicks off the next climate grift, though, carbon capture. Liberal budget called outright ridiculous by expert. Youth being asked to sacrifice for boomers. Poilievre's leadership is being tested. Liberals spend tax dollars to fight transparency. Foreign registry sounds nice, but not a priority. Different punishment based on your party status. Imagine that, eh? Fuhrer, we did this story, is MIA. That's our local MP. Climate hysteria is a great way to get money. Prince Harry says he was under duress. That's a good one. Sean Fraser, happy with ostrich outcome. BC homeowners will regret the BC NDP. More mill closures in BC. Lots going on, eh? British veteran gets in line with King Arthur. Says, what for? Why? Elon gets the biggest payday ever. And now that's a show of power. And Sydney Sweeney, just cuz. You know? Just cuz. All that
well, it's already become a meme.
All that and a lot more on the Really Big Show. And again, we have a really big show. We're getting a bigger audience too, and we thank you for that. And we hope you continue to share it. Help us get the message out. And let me know if you think the tie works. I wore it this morning because like I said, I did an exclusive interview with the BC Interior Health and a lot of stuff going on there. Lots of health crises there. It was a good interview, so I'd advise you to go watch that. That story should be going up later today. We'll have that up for you. But yeah. Let us know if you think Ian should put a tie on, you know, because we're all about, your opinion. Why not, eh?
Well, a certain person's opinion. He knows who he is.
That's right.
I hope he's there. I hope he's out there.
We're doing the work. And I hope that a lot of people usually tune in at 9. And sorry we're late this morning. But you can always watch these after the fact, though, too. They are recorded and they are put up on our YouTube channel at the Now Media Group on YouTube, and they're also loaded up on Kelowna Now. And plus, we cut them up into different segments, so lots there. Again, like, share, subscribe, comment. Hit the like button, hit the dislike button, whatever you want to hit. Hit something. But we'll kick it off first, though. Canada's unemployment rate down to 6.9, but Kelowna and Kamloops closing in on 10%. Haven't seen that for a long time, since I think first time I moved here in 1998. High unemployment here in Kelowna and Kamloops. You can go through some of these numbers. They said we did add 67,000 jobs were added to the economy last month, though.
Yeah, and it's question period. I think it's probably still going on now because it drags on for half the day. And you can be certain, I probably don't even have to finish this sentence, but the majority of the Liberal defense was, and we've added 67,000 jobs to our roaring economy. And they kept pointing to Tim Hodgson, who was in there, at least at the beginning, because he's the Natural Resources Minister, and saying, it's thanks to investment. People are choosing Canada to invest, and they're investing in our natural resources. So they were delighted. But I must say, I didn't see Stephen Fuhrer when I was watching it anyway, because he won't be a particularly happy chappy, given that his city, Kelowna, seems to be suffering.
And then the investment he's talking about, the only one that I know of that has moved here to Canada, is what they're going to be working on, carbon capture. Tim Hodgson has touted that company out of the U.S. called Carbon Capture USA, where they're going to move here to Canada because there's no more carbon credits or no more climate green credits down in the U.S. They killed them all. So they're moving to Canada where they can grift the system here and take tax credits. We're going to, Blanchette is caught on, and we're going to see some comments from Yves Blanchette later on these carbon credits here. But yeah, Kelowna is at 9.3%. That's up from 7.1. That's a huge jump. Kamloops, 9.6, up from 9.5. These are big numbers here, and it's gonna get worse. Another mill closure was announced today in British Columbia. So not good. And some of the leading indicators, these are like, these are after the fact reported. And I'm going to imagine some of these numbers are going to get revised differently. I mean, they gloat about it, but when it goes the other way, they surely don't talk about it much. But youth unemployment is still very, very high in Canada, right? Employment declined in construction. I do have an interview, another exclusive interview this afternoon with somebody from the Canadian Home Builder Supply saying this budget did nothing for building homes. Imagine that, when the Liberals are touting that it does everything for building homes. But hey, why listen to the people that are in the industry, right?
It hasn't happened before. But I should say, because it was a bad one for BC. Not each one is bad, obviously. Sometimes the months kind of can look quite good. But because this is a bad month, the Jobs Minister, Ravi Kahlon, some say the next BC Premier and leader of the NDP, he came out right away, didn't mess around. The very first sentence was, BC and Canada are facing unprecedented threats. US President Donald J. Trump's erratic tariff threat. So it's just all about Trump. And it's kind of, but what's strange is he goes on to say, we cannot control what the US president does. So why are you always talking about that then? But anyway, Gavin Dew, and this is another mystery, Gavin Dew, I don't think he would disagree with me saying he was demoted. He had a bigger job in the BC Conservatives, and John Rustad demoted him to a smaller job. So he does small business and innovation, whereas he used to do jobs. But for some reason, the BC Conservatives obviously don't trust the person that they've given that job to. So he's still got the job to respond, and he comes out and says, he uses a phrase that's very often heard in the UK, which, as I've said many times, is like several years ahead on this roller coaster of despair. He says that it's managed decline. So rather than trying to grow out of the trouble that we find ourselves in, he's accusing the BC NDP of just managing the decline so that the collapse from grace is done as nicely as possible, as comfortably as possible. And then he goes on to say, Trump's tariffs have hurt us, but they didn't create the weak foundations. David Eby did that, he alleges.
I mean, the proof's in the pudding. You can go back and read our stories over the last couple of years on forestry. Forestry was in a shambles, turmoil, however you want to look at it. Rustad said it, Falcon said it, even David Eby, when I interviewed him, we were in trouble long before this. And I mean, this is just kind of like, it's easy to hurt something that's very, very weak. That's the thing. It's been weakened. Self-harm, our own self-harm, weakened to the point, and that same thing goes for our oil exports, weakened because we only have one customer, and that one customer has decided to put our feet to the fire, and then we don't have anywhere else to go, really, right? Self-harm.
That's the rub of it. But I mean, just to go back to BC, like that data that I was looking at, the kind of granular stuff, shows they put in one category forestry, fishing, mining, quarrying, oil and gas. They're all in the same category. That's what the Liberals are so excited about in the House of Commons this morning. But you look at it in BC and it's just gone down and down and down and down. So in June of this year, that sector had 46,600 jobs. In October, 38,100. And it's a similar story across some other jobs here that you would, are some sectors that you'd think were very important. But then right at the bottom, we have a modest increase in public administration between September and October.
That's where the growth sectors are in Canada and in BC. And it was, I think, in the fall of 2024, I did the interviews with Kofi. There was 10,000 job losses in forestry in the 2 years prior. So, I mean, this forestry failure has been going on for a while, Ravi, and you know it. And these are policies that the BC NDP has put into place. And in the industry, Canfor said that BC is uninvestable. This is prior to Trump winning an election. Uninvestable.
And that was prior as well, by the way, to all these land claims, which is another shadow.
Well, the big COP30 is going on, and the climate virtue signaling is going on like crazy. But guess who's not there? The biggest economies decided, we're not going to that. America.
Mark Carney isn't even there either.
Yeah, but it sounds like he may go. He's sending an entourage for sure. But you would think this is one of the places, because they're going to, this is carbon capture is all the word down there too. Carbon capture, right? So the leaders of the world's biggest polluters are no-shows. They've, President Xi said it a long time ago, they will not harm our economy for your climate hysteria.
And the Chinese representative that they did send yesterday said, it's not our responsibility, it's rich countries, developed countries, as if that doesn't include China. I mean,
as it says,
it depends on the context whether China would admit that, but they're saying, oh no, we're not a developed country, that's for you to do.
Says the world's second largest economy. Imagine that, eh? But Ursula...
And the world's #1 polluter.
Ursula, she never misses a chance to virtue signal. Let's listen to our #1 virtue signaler of the world.
The COP that strengthens our determination to triple renewables and double energy efficiency by 2030. The COP that delivers for those countries that are most vulnerable to the devastating impact of climate change. And the European Union is ready to contribute. Renewables now generate nearly half of our electricity. We're firmly on track to meet our own 2030 target. As my friend Antonio Costa just said, we have our NDC for 2035.
Yeah. How is Germany doing?
Yeah. And she was the defense minister in Germany. She was a very senior figure in German government for quite a while.
But yeah.
But also the idea as well, anybody that's actually read about solar panels and to a lesser extent wind, but anyone that's read about solar panels, that's the main driver of renewable energy these days, other than like the old-fashioned things like dams, like hydro. But it's solar panels. Anybody who's read about it knows that Europe is just one of the worst places, except maybe like Spain. Spain is a bit of an exception. But countries like Germany and Britain and Sweden and so on, they just don't get enough sunlight for it to make sense. But that's what they're pushing very hard. And of course, the wind turbine, I mean, that's a different conversation. But they're bragging about this glorious success. And yet, really, when you look at it on a sort of the level of detail, it's
then guess
it's not
what?
much of a success at all, I'm afraid.
Germany just signed a deal with the Americans to buy LNG.
Yeah, because they realize that they have to have a certain amount of energy that actually works and is reliable, rather than trying to use the power of the sun in Germany. Anyone that's been to Germany knows it's not a very sunny place.
Well, if you listen to what Ursula said and what Mark Carney says, they wouldn't dare buy it from the Americans who don't have a climate plan anymore. Why did they buy it from them? It seems odd. Elizabeth May says climate action can't be dead because the world is on fire. Let's listen to Elizabeth May here. She's been hanging out with Melanie Jolie too much, I think. We're going to get it in a second. I mean, she runs one of the most influential parties here in Canada, wasn't she? How many seats do they have?
Kind of. Well, she said in the same thing, she said, I wish I could go to the COP conference, but I'm not sure I can because I have to stay in Canada because I might have the deciding vote on the budget. So, yeah, that's how powerful she is.
Let's go.
COP26 exists anymore. I stand here. I'm not going anywhere. Climate activists have a voice in Parliament, and it's more than just me, and we're not giving up, and we're not going away, and no, climate action can't be dead. We have an obligation to a living biosphere, to our own children and grandchildren, to our society. Canada can have a strong economy, but not on a dead planet. This planet is on fire. And we are walking away from the danger. Maintenant, c'est le moment d'agir.
That's good.
I just, when even on YouTube, people have probably seen, if we write as a headline, if we mention climate change or something like that, so probably this headline that we've written, YouTube is probably going to come in and put a little info thing at the bottom with like a link to the UN or something like that, just so you know what the official line is on climate change. I just find that interesting because they're doing that because they can't accept the possibility that misinformation would get out there about the climate or climate change. And yet here's Elizabeth May, the leader of the Green Party of Canada, spreading misinformation about climate change. The planet is not going to die. The planet is not on fire. None of that is true. Read the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report. That's not on the cards. That's not going to happen. That is pure fear-mongering and misinformation. But where's her little notice? I almost feel like she should walk around with one of those on her chest, saying, for real information about climate change, go to the IPCC's website and read the reports, because it's not what she tells you. That is just fake news, I'm afraid.
Well, I mean, their number one guru that led this climate hysteria, Bill Gates, has now said that the climate hysteria can be put to bed. That we need to move on. After
all these years. But he used to sound like that, didn't he?
Yeah.
But this is the thing, like humble peasants such as ourselves, walking around in rags in the freezing cold, we can read the IPCC report and find out what is the closest approximation to reality. For some reason, these people that set themselves up as responsible, the leaders of our world, think that it's okay just to pointlessly lie and exaggerate and it's so irresponsible, and it's such an insult. Again, I say this a lot, but it's an insult to Canada and Canadians and democracy, as usual.
Well, we're going to have more on the climate stuff, the COP30 stuff, or COP30 stuff later. I think she referenced COP26 though, but and now let's talk about the budget a little bit. Nita Nunn putting out a piece there. Like, I love these photo ops. I mean, if we had a nickel for every great photo op from the Liberals, Canada would be the richest nation in the world. We would definitely be we definitely are good at the photo ops. Like, if we're looking for social media influencing accounts, we lead the way. And I don't know how much that piece of art costs, but she says Canada.
I was thinking that.
It's probably millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars. Like, I used to paint that stuff.
Yeah, well, my daughter paints that stuff now. I'll sell some, maybe. I'll go knock on the door.
The only person that could sell that before would be Hunter Biden.
Or Evan Solomon, maybe.
Maybe that might have been a Hunter Biden painting. But she says that we're going to build the strongest economy in G7, although Tiff Macklin said yesterday, no. Whether it's building homes, strengthening Canadian armed forces, the thing is that there is a housing crisis. Armed forces underfunded, underpaid, under-equipped, and under. So I don't know. Let's pass this budget and keep going.
But just look at that word that she's used, though. You say, I doubt that. I doubt that's likely to happen. But she's used a certain phrase there, hasn't she? She said strongest economy. What does that mean? That is an obviously vague word that's been used so that they can hide their tracks. And if I was sat here as a professor, something like that, marking their work, I would just do a gigantic red X. Don't use vague language. Have the courage to be precise and tell us what you really mean. Because strongest economy, that's a completely meaningless phrase. That could mean, as she sort of hints here, we support small businesses and we're going to build homes. That's why it's the strongest, not because we've got the largest GDP or the best growth or anything like that. Be precise. But this is, needless to say, this is the sort of currency of politics, isn't it? Just deception and vagueness.
I love the framing of the photo. I did photography. Somebody's going to say you've done everything. Yeah, I did a lot of photography early on, and great framing of the photo. Beautiful. Love it.
Well, you got the reflection at the bottom as well. It's good foreground.
If only Canadians could eat photo ops. If only we could eat photo ops. But the people that did eat well there, Alex Pearson here points out, I follow her on X, celebrating all out austerity while Canadians line up at food banks. We pointed that out yesterday. There you go. That's that. We should not forget this right there. All the journalists there that were living off the government boob as well, like millions of dollars in the room there being funded by the Liberals after they crippled media, and they're all living off the government boob, and then they're the one that threw the party. It was put on by the media outlet. Nice.
And this guy here, the one that she's, the guy that took the pictures here of Champagne. Yeah. Et al. He's gone out now and he's getting a bit huffy. If you go on his Twitter account, he's like saying, oh, you're so upset about this thing that you only know about because I reported it. Because he actually works for the Hill Times, one of the hosts of this event. I think it's the Hill Times anyway. And it's kind of as if to say, like, oh, you're so dumb. Like, you're so stupid that you think there's some sort of conspiracy. Like, you only know about this because of me. It's like, we only know about it because of you, because you made a mistake, because you were so foolish that you published it. So now we see what you get up to. And I can guarantee you, nobody's happy about this. Like, a very, very small number of people will be happy about this. And I'm sure that there are people in the Liberal comms department will have run out of hair because they'll have pulled it all out because of how bad this looks. So it's the kind of inability to understand why people might be miffed, and then to try and come out and defend it on a sort of technical line. It's just immature.
Well, we found our own expert on the internet there for the budget, and he says it's downright ridiculous. There's a couple of CPAs that have put this out. Downright ridiculous. Buckle up, Canada. The government is maxing out the country's credit cards. And that's a couple of CPAs in there, FCPAs. That's Evan Crocker, Asim Herji, I don't know, a couple other guys there, Michael Harker. And they did some highlights there. No personal or corporate tax adjustments. I'm just going to hit some of these highlights. I mean, the budget had a lot of nothing. What's hidden in there is that Trojan horse, and that is the carbon capture investment tax credits, which we're going to get to in a bit here. The elimination of the luxury tax for aircraft and boats, but retaining it from automobiles. Like, why? That makes no sense, right? I guess it's just for the outright rich, right? That one really stinks, right? Just for people that can afford, people that can afford airplanes and luxury boats, instead of just like a pickup truck.
To be fair, I would say, I mean, I'm with you, but I'd also say when you start having hostility to people that have loads of money, that's when your country can really suffer.
I don't have hostility towards yeah.
I'm just putting
saying,
that out
why
there,
not
like
take it off
saying
the pickup
they do
trucks,
bring
though?
money into the economy,
Well,
and
why
that's
not
obviously what they're doing.
Why not take it off pickup trucks? That's my thing, right? Because pickup trucks
yeah,
use a broader use of the population by pickup trucks.
And we know the answer because those peasants, the average person can't just get up and leave and go move to Bermuda or something like that, but the rich can. So that's it, really, isn't it?
I mean, again, I say there's a lot of nothing in there, and a lot of pages of nothing. And but the thing that stands out is that 60% tax credit for carbon capture. That one should stand out, and you should wonder why that one stands out. Andrew Scheer there, struggling Canadians with food prices. We need relief, bring down the cost of groceries. Carney, I hear your pain will remove the luxury tax on private jets. I mean, Andrew Scheer just pointing out some of the obvious, right?
And that's just like politics 101, isn't it? It's basic politicking there from Mr. Scheer. So but you can see what he's doing. The Liberals would do the same thing, obviously. That's just like Punch and Judy, isn't it?
This one is more to the truth. Is this is in the Globe and Mail federal budget. Ottawa asks younger Canadians to make sacrifices for the financially comfortable retirees, and that is their base. I mean, they obviously played to their base, right? The people that were that voted for them very strongly is the boomers.
Totally.
Yeah.
There's no getting away from it. Obviously, there are some boomers who are not in a good position, and they really resent this language, and I can understand that. It doesn't apply to everybody, but you have to look at statistics from a high angle, from if you don't look at it from a macro position, then it doesn't make sense. And as a group, the over 65s, that's usually how they're categorized in the statistics. They're doing pretty darn well. And it's not just Canada. A place like France, they are literally richer in France than the average, and the working people, like they earn more. The money that they get per year is higher than the average like 35-year-old or something like that in France. And Canada's on trend to do the same thing. So it's real. The statistics bear all this out. It's not just young people being resentful.
But we have a little pitch here from Evan Solomon. He was a disgraced CBC reporter, and then because he was an art dealer for Mark Carney, and then he later went on to work for his wife's company, Eurasia Group. And now he's the AI expert in Canada. He's got his new position as AI expert. I probably know more about AI than, I'd say by many-fold. But let's listen into what, he's a good pitch man. Now listen to him pitch here.
Check out Budget 2025. The ingredients are there. Let's get cooking. You know, some moments in history ask, who are you? Who are we? We're living in one of those moments. This is one of those hinge moments where Canada's got to define itself. We got to define ourselves. That's what Budget 2025 is all about. First of all, it's going to help you. It's about affordability, an affordable life, affordable homes, taking the GST off first-time homebuyers. It's investing in families by making a national school food program permanent. It's about investing in communities with a $50 billion national Build Community Strong fund that's going to build hospitals. It's also about making sure that we have the economy of the future, training workers, and investing in our businesses. Budget 2025 gives us that opportunity to believe in Canada, to invest in Canada. If we can't do it now, when can we do it? Let's build Canada together.
I think they found his job, like where he's actually good. He's a pitch man.
He's quite natural, isn't he? I mean, he almost sounds like he's half cut. Like he's had a whiskey maybe before. But
I think yeah.
I don't know. It's better than being fake. It's better than Chrystia Freeland anyway, isn't it?
He is the pitch man. He's good at it. I mean, I give him kudos there. He's good at that. As far as AI goes, making outlandish claims and saying that we're leading the world in AI, those are just pure fallacies. Fact check. Nope.
But everybody's got something to say about AI now, haven't they? Like I was watching that. I caught some of that interview that you did with Interior Health, and you asked about AI, didn't you? The Interior Health CEO, and it's like everyone's got an answer to that question now, haven't they? But not really thick in detail. But everyone's got like, yeah, we're going to use it. We're going to. It's just, it strikes me from Mr. Solomon, I'm sorry to say, as being that just the kind of stock AI answer.
This one here too is the Yves Blanchette is calling out Mark Carney on his creative accounting and also the tax credits. We're going to pick it up here about 1 minute, Mark. Here, let's play it.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Champly. I don't expect the Prime Minister to want to answer my question. A tax credit. You are paying money to someone who gets the benefit of that credit. It comes out of government coffers. You cannot say that it is an investment, the value of which you are keeping with on your asset sheet. Does the Prime Minister think that accountants are idiots and that Canadians are idiots as well? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I would like to underline that Hydro-Quebec will be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this budget, and the environment will be the other big beneficiary. With it, when it comes to carbon capture, the truth is that right now, Quebec is using 350,000 barrels of oil a day. So carbon has to be captured for the production and transport.
There you go. There you go. As it starts to come in, the language starts to fill in. Just like I said, carbon capture is going to be the new climate grift, and that's what it's going to be about. You're going to use it. You're going to pay for it. It's just another tax. Let's just go. It's just another tax.
Well, yeah, kind of, but it's almost like even more insidious than that, isn't it? More elaborate than that, because it's an opportunity to, you know, a cynic might argue, it's an opportunity to hand out gigantic largesse.
Tax credits.
Like huge sums of taxpayers' money in the form of contracts. And also this ability to kind of impose an artificial market on top of the real natural market and make all kinds of determinations about who wins and who loses in commerce. It's profound. It's a huge amount of power as well as, you know, a lot of money.
It's like winning the lottery for corporations like Brookfield. It's absolutely like winning the lottery, because not only are they going to get carbon credits, 60% carbon credits, investment tax credits for the carbon capture. They're going to have the ability to sell these captured carbon credits to corporations, so they have the ability to actually tax our energy. Isn't that amazing? They're going to have the ability. It's absolutely like a lottery win for these companies, especially the ones that are coming out of the U.S. They're going to take Canadian tax dollars. They're going to feed them into American corporations. And is Brookfield American now or Canadian, or what is it, really? But they're going to come and they're going to take Canadian taxpayer dollars, your dollars, and then they're going to tax our energy, which could get us out of our problem. But they're going to take most of the fat off that calf before it can ever be realized at market. How's that for an analogy?
But it is, we hear all this talk about Mark Carney as a banker and everything, and in finance. It does look a lot like the sort of thing that banks put out, isn't it? It's very smart. It's very it's also really boring, and it's wrapped up in all this sort of like nonsense and gibberish. Yeah, it's like this is precisely what somebody that's worked in the finance sector for 40 years would do, isn't it? It's just like, yep, it's got that written all over it.
Make it so complicated that if anybody starts talking about it, it's hard to pick at it, and they'll just start calling you a conspiracy nut and all those things. But just look at it for the meat of what it is. It's carbon capture. It's the new climate grift. And we're giving, like if you look at that budget, the thing that is the biggest thing that stands out in that budget, where the most of the win is 60% tax credit for carbon capture, 60%. And the removal of the emissions cap, which they didn't really have talked about, do you know what I mean? Because they kept using that. But here it is, just a one paragraph. There's no need for the emissions cap anymore. Just a little slidey line in there, just, nah, we don't need it anymore. Why? Carbon capture. Why? You're going to hear it more and more. Just watch this. And you can tell people you heard it first on The Really Big Show, and we've been talking about it for a while now. Because I bet you
would say another thing to look out for is the defense procurement as well, where there's some real massive amounts of money have been promised in the budget. We want to see where that ends up going, and whether it also is somehow funneled into certain green schemes. That's always on the cards, even when it comes to apparently an existential crisis where we're trying to defend our country from invaders. I wouldn't put it past our glorious ruling class to stick some sort of green malarkey in there as well.
Well, I mean, if you go to CBC, guess what? There's no stories on there. We won't need to go. I mean, you can go there if you want, but they just talked about. You can clean up their headlines from them. CFIA says it's culled the ostriches. Just replace that word with killed the ostriches. Canada's economy has added 67,000, beating economists' expectations. Yeah, just expect less and get more. There you go. You can write a nice headline.
Blue Jays, don't forget.
Trump, you got a real Trump straw man in there. Fights administration to give people food. Man.
Oil industry's hurting because of low prices. That's going to be one that'll have excited them. Like, yes, write that.
How about this one? Called narco-terrorist by Trump administration. Men executed in Venezuela. There you go. Anyway.
By the way, somebody apologized for spelling my name wrong. That's fine. Don't worry about spelling my name wrong. It's only people who are annoying and spell it wrong. They're the only ones that get the finger wagged at them.
The wagging finger. The wag.
Anyone else, it's fine. If you're a good bean, then I don't care. But yeah.
Liberals survive. I mean, no big surprise there. Liberals survived the first of three confidence votes with no surprise, the NDP. Thank you, NDP. There you go. Hey, imagine
and the Bloc
that.
as well, and the Greens. They all got behind. Everyone but the Tories. Yeah, because this was the Tory amendment, but they're doing the Bloc one today. So today the Bloc will. They'll obviously vote against the government, and then that's when the NDP will actually bail them out. We'll see that. Which is mad, isn't it? To think the NDP is still doing that. They're still riding in the sidecar.
They've destroyed their party down to non-party status, and yet they're just like, oh, you need help? Yeah, we'll do that again. Yeah, for sure.
It's like, absolutely. Here to serve.
Absolutely. So one of the MPs asked, and we've asked this question many times, Canada sold off all its gold because it said it was an antiquated asset. But Tiff Macklin has asked the question actually in committee hearing, and he has an answer for you.
I understand the bank may be close to not losing money anymore, but do you wish you still had some gold reserves to offset those losses? Because we do not have any gold reserves anymore as of 2016. You can blame a predecessor. You weren't there. So do you wish you still had the gold?
We
10
hold
seconds or less, please.
We hold our reserves in interest-bearing assets, high quality.
It would be worth a lot, though, today, though. Well, I mean, we're one of the only central banks that have zero reserves.
Well, just to correct the MP there, we're the only one in the G7. Zero. We're the only one that has zero gold reserve. Zero. We said it was antiquated. We sold most of it around $1,200 an ounce. What is it today? 4,000. Oops.
But he also says something that might go over a lot of people's heads. He also says we have interest-bearing assets or something like that, didn't he? I can't remember exactly what he meant, how he phrased it. But a lot of that, US bonds, but also bonds, Canadian bonds, like that kind of consumption of the self.
We ate ourselves. Yeah, we buy our own bonds. Okay.
And it's also, by the way, interest bearing. Yeah, just not like gold. I mean, if you look at the chart of gold, nowhere near that for bonds. I mean, obviously, bonds are the crap, really.
Next time these MPs maybe should call us and we can help them with the question.
Well, did you hear the Liberal referee? I think that was Karina Gould, wasn't it? Trying to like stop it, like shut up, stop talking about gold.
Of course they do. I mean, the next question should be, why are we the only G7 nation that seems to have gone from no gold, no Bitcoin? Why are we the only ones that seem to have this status when all the other central banks of the world have been accumulating these reserves? We seem to pick on the Americans for what they've done to us, yet the majority of our reserves are in UST bills. Does that make sense? And Canada is also one of the leading gold producers. Why don't we have gold reserves? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, who made this decision and why is the decision left to stand?
Can you imagine if the government or provincial governments had said, look, instead of corporation tax, business tax, we'll just take a little bit of your gold. Say that to the gold companies. Yeah. Can you imagine how much that will be worth now? Like, I'm guessing, I don't actually know, I'm kind of just going off the top of my head here, but I'm guessing that that's kind of what they do in places like South Africa. They must take it in kind.
The mistakes they made, I mean, up until about 2012, a lot of central banks were kind of like getting rid of their gold because they said that it was an antiquated asset. And then they realized that there was world instability and that they needed to add. And then so most central banks around the world have been adding their gold reserves. And Canada stuck with, they just seem to just never been able to make, like change with the times. They're just, again, the politicians of yesterday and the policies of yesterday. I guess
but they're still coming out with that like arrogant sort of supercilious waffle where they're like, oh, those gold bugs. Like, yeah, some people, it's kind of like, are you still honestly of that opinion? Like, all you got to do is look at a gold chart. Like, even if it is daftness, if it is a kind of like irrational exuberance, you'd still want to be in on that, wouldn't you? If you were sensible, if you were smart with your money.
I'll give you just a basis for this, and then we'll leave people with gold and why it's just not a flight of fancy. Back in Roman days, an ounce of gold would have bought you a full gear, sword, shield, armor, all that, and 1 ounce of gold. And today, an ounce of gold will buy you a suit, watch, everything you need, like $5,000 Canadian. You could outfit yourself pretty good. That's what an ounce of gold would buy you. Even if you go back to 1929, gold was at $35 an ounce, and it bought you a pretty nice suit and all the basically your armor for the business world. And today it still does that, but $35 in today's world, like $35 won't even get you underwear in Canadian dollars or American dollars for that fact. Like, I mean, that's what underwear costs these days. So you can see what the dollar's worth and what gold's worth and how gold holds its value. That is the premise of gold. Tiff.
Tracy asks, who did we sell the gold to? And I don't actually know the answer to that. I'm guessing just private sellers.
So, yeah, the markets. It would have been to the world
just
market.
Into the market, yeah.
To the market. To the other people that are smarter than us. How's that?
Who've now made massive amounts of money on that purchase, I'm sure.
Smarter people. China continues to accumulate gold at record pace. And so does Russia. And I mean, that's why they thought they were going to crash the ruble. And they didn't, because they used gold to back their currency. We don't have that. Like, if there's a run on our currency, we have nothing other than some UST bills.
We've got our institutions, Jim. That's what we put forward as collateral.
We got CBC that can write articles about of how Canada is, I don't know. But here, we're also going to highlight some of the good news. The good news, Canada will sell 1 million tons of LNG to Malaysia. Seems how we lost out on all the other contracts. We lost the contract when they begged for us. Again, just to recap so that everybody knows, I think if you watch the show on a regular basis, you know, America signed deals with recently Japan, Germany, South Korea so far. Big deals too, big deals. Trillions of dollars, big deals. Canada gets a deal with 1 million tons to Malaysia.
And I'm sure the Americans in some way must have been involved in, they must have at least given it the nod, been like, okay, they can have that.
Table scraps. You can have the table scraps. Yeah, go ahead. Yep, all yours.
Because obviously the Americans, they have the sort of first choice, first dibs on all of this, because they've got the military, and that's what countries like Malaysia care about. They care about, well, they've got other things than just the military. They've also got the world's largest consumer market, and the Americans have decided now that you have to do nice things to get access to that. You have to do America favors in exchange for it. But, you know, America, they're like, you know, it's like having dinner with the king, isn't it? It's like whatever he doesn't want to eat, that's what you'll get. You might get a muffin.
One of the comments in here is, I wish the budget had a For Dummies copy. I'll tell you what the For Dummies version is. There's not much in there of any value other than the Trojan horse.
The military.
And it's the tax credits for carbon capture. And then the removal of the emissions cap. And then, I mean, that's the real thing. That's what they really wanted to put in there. That is what the meat and potatoes of it is. And there you go. More problems for Pierre Poilievre, though. This is the second MP. This one at least had the courage just to resign as opposed to walk across the floor and betray his voters. This one resigns, and this is the one they were likely talking about, the other one that was going to walk across the floor, but I guess there was enough fallout from the other one. I mean, resign and let him have a by-election, let the voters decide. He's announced his resignation just days after he said he would step down Parliament next spring. So he said he wants to spend, I mean, the usual thing, it's just like Anita Nan, who resigned, said they were going to spend time with their family. And Sean Fraser, too, said that. But then all of a sudden, they're just like, we could win. Just like, oh, I don't need my family.
Yeah, it's like, family? Screw those guys.
What family?
I'm coming back.
Anyway. So,
I mean, we don't know, but he'll explain. He'll explain it. It'll come out on it, but we don't know what it's about, do we?
Pierre Poilievre will face his leadership test here the next little while as well. So Rosemary Barton will make sure that he faces a tough test. Here's a good one. The party, the Trudeau Liberals, the same bunch really, that ran on accountability and transparency, they spent out $1.6 million of your tax dollars hiding records. Isn't that amazing? The federal lawyers have run up about $1.6 million worth of billable hours in federal court fighting disclosure of access to information records. You know, you're supposed to be able to get what you want, FOI. Carney calls these disclosures quite important, but hey, actual costs represent the related legal disbursements, the legal agent fees, and legal fees. Since 2021, we've spent $1.63 million fighting disclosure when they said they're supposed to give it, and they're just like, well, here's the reasons we don't want to give it. And again, Stephen Guilbeault, those about $250 million allegedly siphoned off for his companies, still no documents. Still no documents. Why would they give the documents?
Yeah, well, that's certainly their attitude.
Information Commissioner Caroline Maynard testified in 2023 hearings of Commons Ethics Committees that the federal defiance of disclosure orders was so commonplace, her office had increased its own spending on legal fees. We have our own legal counsel, but I had to increase the counsel by 2 or 3, or at least 3 employees to respond to that. She said the information system is broken. Some government institutions now routinely violate this law on a daily basis. Accountability and transparency. Eh? We are in a place where information is key. Canadians don't trust governments. We need information to be factual, timely, and provided to them. And Carney said he's supported disclosure of records. Funny, he didn't disclose his own stuff. Like, that's odd, isn't it?
I just love, this is why Blacklock's is good. I mean, obviously because they get the stories, but the way they write is so funny. Like that intro where they talk about all the money used to fight disclosure, and then full stop. Then it's Prime Minister Mark Carney has called disclosure quite important. They're just cheeky. They love what they do, don't they? And you can see it. It's a real asset.
Because the Hall of Famer fool of the day, Justin Trudeau, in 2023, told reporters transparency was key. We recognize there is always more to do. Transparency is an important part of building confidence for Canadians in their governments. I think you can almost take what they say and just think the opposite, and then you might be more in line with what's going on.
Yeah.
And he was asked by a reporter, why haven't you lived up to these promises? And he says, that's something we're committed to do. Awesome, right?
I'm sure it was delivered in a much more dramatic fashion than that, though, isn't it? That is something that we're committed to do.
On bended knee. Poor Chrystia Freeland. Poor Chrystia Freeland. No staff, no budget, no job. Chrystia Freeland, on special representative for the reconstruction of Ukraine, came with no office, no staff, no travel or budget, records show. Freeland took the appointment with a $79,000 pay cut. But there is that $4.5 billion that have been promised to Ukraine for this reconstruction thing that she'll be managing that will likely, that they said they can't disclose on. Imagine that, no disclosure. So she might be able to access.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not like Ukraine has any sort of reputation for being corrupt or anything like that. So that money will be fine, I reckon.
It'll be fine. It's only $4.5 billion anyway, right?
Yeah.
What could go wrong? No sign of foreign registry. They talked about this for a long time too. And this is another one from Holly Own Blacklocks. Cabinet will not fix the deadline to enact public registry of foreign agents through Parliament. Passed this measure into law 17 months ago. Not a priority though, but getting your guns is a priority. That's a priority. Public Safety Minister Gary, I can never get his right. Anandansari. I don't know. How do you say it again?
Ananda Sangari.
Yeah.
So split it up into Ananda. And then Sangari.
Sangari. There you go. He says they're going through the process.
Sangari.
Imagine that they're just going through the process. But, as far as getting the guns back, that process is going very fast. I wish it was done earlier.
In which case it won't go very fast.
Anyway, and they, they're asking, why isn't this going faster? He says, well, we'd like it to go faster. There's always working towards it.
It's just the perfect excuse for failure, isn't it, in the government? It's like, yeah, we're working on that. We have a working group actually looking at that right now.
Listen to this. The United States has a mandated registration of foreign agents since 1938. The United Kingdom enacted their version in 2023, Australia in 2018. Canada, not so much.
It's especially mad, isn't it, when Canada's had all these high-profile scandals in foreign interference. You would really think that this would be like, you'd think Canada would be teaching the other countries how to do it.
Cabinet for years studied the introduction of the Canadian registry without result. I wouldn't describe it as hesitation. That's from our old friend, Minister Marco Mendocino, who testified at 2023 hearings on Canada. I think we need to be diligent, thoughtful, inclusive. To deal with the threats to national security, we need agencies to be inclusive, diverse, and culturally sensitive to Canadians, can have trust and confidence that we can taking action to mitigate against threats to national security they believe are consistently going to act in the national interest. I mean, you just say all those words in one sentence and then just say, well, we need to move on. Like talk about. That's what they should say when they're going after lawfully registered Canadian gun owners. They just read a paragraph off like that and say you need to be inclusive and all this stuff. And then.
But what's that got to do with? What does that have to do with protecting the country from foreign agents that want to undermine Canada? But he says, this is his quote: to deal with threats to national security, we need agencies to be inclusive, diverse, and culturally sensitive. What?
Right. It's the paragraph.
What are you on about?
It's the paragraph that they have. They pull that paragraph out and they just read that off. It doesn't even make sense. Why should it?
I mean, if anything, it's kind of like it's the opposite of what you need in many ways. Because the reason that Canada has been so prone to foreign interference is because some would argue it's so exceptionally diverse and inclusive and culturally sensitive and all the rest of it. So you have sort of sub-communities of Canadians who, in some cases, I'm sorry to say, are willing to work with foreign powers because that's where their loyalties lie. Marco Mendocino, no such thought has entered his head.
Two-tier justice, we talked about that a few times, but even for candidates, it's two-tier justice. The Commissioner of Elections yesterday levied a $200 fine to Liberal MP Jamie Baptiste from Cape Breton for knowingly falsifying campaign expenses. But a former Conservative MP jailed for a similar offense in 2016. Why not?
Yeah,
Hey?
Dean Del Mastro.
A mitigating factor, though, was applied to Jamie Baptiste, cooperated with the commissioner, including, in particular, by providing relevant evidence. And he also said that there was some stuff going on in his life, but it would not elaborate. So there you go. He's got the right color sign.
Well, he also, I believe, this fella is a member of a First Nation, isn't he? So he also has that going for him.
Evidence shows
because he often comes out wearing yeah, he is. He's a member of the Eskasoni First Nation. I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
Evidence shows that Baptiste made an illegal $4,000 contribution to his own campaign, deposited a separate $8,000 donation to his personal bank account before reporting it in his campaign, charged $722 in expenses through a personal credit card. He was fined a total of $600 for multiple breaches. But, you know, throw the Conservative in jail. Is this story on CBC? Did it make it on CBC? I didn't see it. Did you see it?
Fred, no, I did see a very short one, but not the whole story, which is what you will pretty much only get from Blacklocks, so to say.
Yeah, we're gonna blow by the next one because the champagne, we'll just leave that one. But a fewer, we did Steve McNall, our reporter here in. I think he's got 30 years doing business here in Kelowna, Daily Courier, and he's been with us, about 5 years now, I think, Steve McDonald. He's reached out, I think he says 7 times in total to get a comment from Stephen Fuhr. 7 times. MIA.
It's terrible, isn't it?
And he's reached out 7 times to Fuhr's chief of staff and press secretary. Obviously, they don't like us. I've reached out twice to Stephen Fuhr, even asked for a personal meeting. Nothing. And I know Stephen Fuhr. And I know him.
It's odd. Very strange.
But
because, how often does Kelowna get to have a member of cabinet, basically? He's not quite a minister, he's Secretary of State, but he is kind of a minister. Not a very common thing to happen, and you'd expect that he would come back and report home and say all kinds of things to his local media, but
we've asked him to come in here for interviews too, and he agreed to once. I couldn't have on my Facebook thread. He agreed to do an interview with me, and then he changed his mind. And then, but we do interviews with Dan Elmas all the time, and he usually within an hour responds. And Dan Elmas did respond in this story, and you can go read it. And he talks about this budget because we were really just trying to find out about the budget, right? We were trying to find out about the military budget. That was what the story was. And the story is, they're talking about they're going to spend more in the military, and we've been saying this time and time again: underfunded, under-equipped, undermanned, living in housing that's I think 7 out of the 14 housing units that the auditor attended were unfit for living, unsafe drinking water. Toilets that didn't run, and deteriorating walls. Underpaid as well. I think they gave them a raise though, right? Because they're making almost minimum wage, and then they gave them, I think, a 20%.
It's not the biggest. It's not the biggest raise in the world, but
think of that. So they're making just about $20 an hour for a recruit, and then they gave them a raise to $22. Lay in the dirt, and then the guy that goes off, and you're asking them to kill strangers. And meanwhile, the D&D, who only shows up for work 3 of 5 days, and then we did a story in December, they didn't even show up for those 3 of 5 days. A lot of them are in, what's the average salary now at the federal government employees?
Was it 115 or something?
136.
Something like that.
136.
136.
136. But Dan Elvis had comment and says, again, if we look at our equipment, submarines, fail. Aircraft, fail. Anyway.
It's such a tragedy. Sorry to belabor the point, but it's such a tragedy, or a travesty, actually, the true meaning of that word, the true definition of that word. It's a farce. and it's class warfare. I'm convinced. I know a lot of people maybe are sick of this Marxist shtick of mine, but it's class warfare. I know lots of these people that work for the government, and they're on massive amounts of money. They are not doing anything even close to as difficult or as important as training to fight and kill and die for this country. No way. It is absolutely outrageous that they get double the salary of those people. It's just craziness. It's absolute madness.
Lightning Rod says politicians get paid, highly paid. Well, you're lucky they are.
No, I'm not talking about politicians, by the way. I'm talking about bureaucrats. Yeah, I mean, maybe he does know that. And I actually agree to some extent, because there are countries that are a lot better run than this one, like Singapore, that do that. They do pay high salaries, and they've shown how it can be beneficial and it can attract people who are actually competent and also incorruptible, or harder to corrupt anyway. So I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I'm talking about people that do like sort of middling bureaucratic jobs in Ottawa or Victoria or anywhere really. Like, I'm sorry, fair enough. I understand to an extent it's like a welfare scheme for university graduates. I get all that. Everybody deserves dignity, but I mean, the jobs they're doing aren't very important. And if there's a sort of fixed pie and we have to divide this pie, obviously you got to give a bigger slice to the more important people, like the soldiers. Is that not just obvious?
The part that bothers me about this whole fear story is that the Liberals and the NDP talk about Trump being a threat to democracy. What's a threat to democracy? Somebody that won't answer to the media. That's the threat to democracy. And you don't get to choose which media you like and don't like. It's not the media you go to the party with. You know what I mean? If that's the only one you want to answer to is the one that's buying you booze, is that what you call democracy? Or look at Donald Trump. He stands in front of the press 3 hours a day, and he'll take questions from 400 people, all kinds of people, and he'll take questions. He may say, I hate you. And you can come on in, Stephen Fury. You can tell me you hate me. Just answer the questions, right? Who cares? If you believe in democracy, answer the questions.
In this case, what Steve did here, Steve McNall, the reporter that tried to get a comment from him, he even was just asking for like just an email.
Yeah.
Or something, like just a statement, just something. And that, like, you know, obviously those statements aren't written by the politician themselves. They're written by some 25-year-old nerd who maybe lets the politician look at it for 10 seconds and then sends it. And even that wasn't granted.
I think we should I think we should do an FOI and just ask for everything that refers to Now Media and just be sent to us and see what's actually going on in the background there. Be interesting. There we go. Sounds like there's an MOU going to be signed there with Alberta to reset relations. They're going to have some work there to do. The Liberals are hoping to sign a major accord with Alberta designed to reset the often troubled relationship with Ottawa and Edmonton. The aim, according to experts, is to sign an MOU before Grey Cup, November 16th. I wonder why the Alberta is upset. Any thoughts on that?
It even says in this article, which is from the CBC, it even refers to Alberta's perception, I think is how it refers to it. Or maybe it's somebody's quote of a decade of, aggressive, hostile policies towards Alberta.
So it's Alberta's perception. What about the rest of the Canada's perception? I mean, it's obvious to most people that Alberta is the golden goose that gets treated like the ugly stepchild. Like, it's obvious. It's painfully obvious. So, you can frame it any way you want. It's painfully obvious to most people.
Like, just their oil is responsible for more than a third, or about a third of Canada's exports. Everything, the entirety of Canada's exports in terms of value. I mean, and that's just oil. They do other things in Alberta as well.
Let's not forget that Liberal policies put us here at the mercy of the Americans because they killed it, including Mark Carney's advice at committee, to not do the Northern Gateway pipeline so that we could sell oil to the rest of the world. It was Mark Carney and Trudeau there with economic advice there that said there's no business case for LNG. And lo and behold, 3 years later, there's business cases for LNG. Imagine that. Imagine that.
But another thing is pointed out in this article, which is maybe like a good sign, or a confirmation at least that they really are having a conversation, is that Danielle Smith didn't come out and talk down the budget, any of the sort of things in that. She's kept quiet, basically, not really said much. So she's holding her she's holding her peace.
I mean, I think for her, the emissions cap removal, but, you know, I'm pretty sure she realizes what's in there. She's smart enough to realize there's something else coming, like, for that. And it just, can they tolerate this carbon capture tax that's going to be put on?
But she's all in on Pathways, and Pathways is the main sort of vehicle for that.
Oh, she had no
carbon capture. For some reason, I think because she's like a beaten dog that is willing to accept like a bone or something, isn't she?
You want to sell oil, you got to do this. So she's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
but she's had 10 years and more of that, and people in Alberta have had 50 years of that, or whatever it's been, off and on. They're used to it in Alberta. So I think that's what it is. It's like, if that's what we have to do, Mr. Ottawa, we'll do it. We'll do it for you. We'll give you this. We'll pump the gas into the ground if it makes you happy.
Okay, you just take a side of beef off the side of it, and there you go. Puzzled, you know, Olivia Chow puzzled as to why, you know, like people are strongly disapproving of her. She's one of the best dancers in Toronto. She's going to be on Dancing with the Stars one day. I mean, her and Justin Trudeau could probably go on. Or maybe her and Doug Ford could go maybe as a couple, right?
She's a character. I will give her that. Not many people in politics even remember that they exist. But
she will be remembered.
She is a character.
She will be remembered. We're going to move on past that other story, but we're going to go right here to, like, here's a new one. Let's move past that. A member of the Climate Youth Assembly wants the government to mandate long-term support for climate-induced trauma. Why not? Why not? Hey, let's listen to what she has to say.
We urge parliamentarians to mandate and support the provision of continued and long-term mental health resources across provinces and territories so that all Canadians can access care from climate-induced trauma, distress, and duress. We want to see an emphasis on community wellness and making resources available virtually and in person to allow all Canadians to stay connected. Such resources include hotlines, call and text, for individuals struggling due to the effects of climate change, websites with related resources, and support groups where people can share their own experiences.
That sounds a place to dig a hole, shovel money into it, and why not?
But this is another indication, like, we're only ever told that it's a problem when it's on the right. So you'll only ever hear about it when it's someone like that Nick Fuentes kid in America, or whoever it is. Somebody will do something in the Canadian military, like we'll have a swastika or something like that. I'll have some sort of books about Nazism or something like that. It's like, oh, the radical youth. But there's another side to that coin, and it's this kind of thing. The young in general, the youth, are being radicalized. In some cases, they are just so mental. They're so insane. And they're so dislodged from reality, from the rest of what we think of as reality. And this is just another indication, like, we have to do something about this, or, you know, something must be done. I have to write a letter about it, because young people are just, look what they just did in New York City, for example. Like, that was a victory for the youth in many cases. They voted for that Mamdani, like, a person that is just unimaginable that somebody like that would ever be elected to high office or significant office in the United States. It's because young people are going off the rails, and you know,
enchanted, disenfranchised, a whole bunch of distance.
Yeah, because they don't have any hope. They don't have anything, and they don't have any hope of getting anything. They're being screwed over, and we talked about the sacrifices that they're being asked to make for the boomers.
I got some good news for you, because it seems like we have these two-tier systems for a whole bunch of things. Here's another two-tier one from the TD Canada Trust. It's going to offer free checking accounts to customers who identify as Indigenous. So there's your clue. Just go in and identify as part of the upcoming changes to the fee structure. But I got a better solution for you. This one here you got to listen to really closely. You want free banking in Canada? My wife used to work for the bank, one of the major banks, for like 10, 15 years, and couldn't get free banking. Even as an employee, I think she got half off working for one of the major banks. But she went to work for the Cookie Bank. I call it the Cookie Bank. President's Choice, which was owned by the major bank, and it was free banking. So we actually did our banking with the Cookie Bank, because they gave you a free bag of cookies when you signed up. That's why I call them the Cookie Bank. We've been with them forever. Simply Financial. Free banking. Free.
Tangerine as well. Yeah.
Tangerine. Also, one of the best things for youth. Free plug here. Maybe we'll put a link in here and you get $25 if you use our code. Wealth Simple. easily the best thing for youth people because you can buy fractional shares, you can open up a TFA as an RRSP, you can even buy gold in there, and you can buy shares free, like free of charge. Like even these banks still charge a transaction fee. So you can go in there and buy a fractional share of Tesla, and then you can buy and sell that thing and you'll get the difference. Whereas if you go do it with TD and CIBC in that, you're gonna pay a $7 in, $7 out, and if you buy in a $7 worth of stock has to triple before you make a penny. Stop using them. That's the way to teach them.
You can buy gold as well, can't you, on that app?
On Wealthsimple. Stop using them. Like close your accounts with TD Canada Trust and with all these other big banks that are still charging bank fees because there is free. And now they're coming up with two-tier banking. Like all they do is want a virtue signal. They charge astronomical fees. They make so much money off credit card fees. They'd never lower credit card fees. They're basically stealing from all the businesses, taking 3% off businesses. There's ways around that now too. Just stop using them, and then they'll start changing their ways because it's just atrocious what they charge and what they continue to charge youth. But there is free stuff out there. Wealthsimple, Tangerine, Simply Financial, and there's no reason not to use them.
There's lots, like all the major banks have one,
TD busted for money laundering in the States. TD was busted billions of dollars in fines for money laundering. So stop using them. Teach them a lesson. I use Wealthsimple all the time, and I've got so many people involved with Wealthsimple, young people. So we'll put a QR code at the end here, and if you use that QR code, you'll get $25 deposited in your account as soon as you put, you put 25 bucks in. I think you did it too, right? I sent it to you. You got 25 bucks right away. They give you 25 bucks. You can put a TFSA in there. You can put RSPs in there. You can have a bank account. You can have a credit card. You can have a checking account. You can have all those things. All of them free. All of them free. And plus,
and by the way, we're not sponsored by them. They don't give us any money, but they should give us money if you're listening.
I think. Well, if you use our QR code, we will get $25. It's a $25 for us. And the thing is, Tracy, if you use it and you want to share it with your friends, everybody that you get on there, you get 25 bucks. So there you go. You're not going to get that from TD. And TD, if you want to send us money,
you're talking about two-tier, because they talk about this indigenous thing. Yeah, that obviously I think that's a valid criticism. But the other two-tier thing is kind of what you're talking about here. It's like the old banks, they're almost exclusively used by the older people, aren't they? Like who don't realize that things like Wealthsimple, TransferWise is another one for between currencies, and also that Tangerine and all the rest of it. They don't know that those things exist in many cases, the older people. So it is kind of two-tier like that as well, isn't it? It's like it's one tier for the older folks and another for the younger people who know how to use apps and things like that.
And guess what else you can buy at Wealthsimple? Bitcoin. You can buy Bitcoin in your Wealthsimple account. So in that account, you can hold Bitcoin, you can hold gold, you can hold your TFSA, you can fractional shares. I'm telling you, this is the future. Tell the youth people, young people, instead of buying that $9 coffee from those fancy coffee places, $9 coffee, buy $9 worth of Microsoft, $9 worth of Palantir, $9 worth of NVIDIA, $9 worth of, I don't care what you buy. It doesn't even matter. Buy $9 worth of the most worthless stock you can find. You'll still have more money at the end of the day, and you will do your body more good instead of pouring sugar down your system. That $9 stock that you buy, and if you just think of it, you do that every day. Instead of buying a coffee, you just opt to buy $9 worth of stock. It doesn't matter even what stock you buy. You're going to be further ahead, plus your body's going to love you a lot more too, right? Wealthsimple today. We'll put a link in there for you. Anyway. Poor Harry. Poor Harry. He said he was under duress. Prince Harry apologizes to Canada. Now he puts on the Blue Jays hat. Boy, this guy sure like swings with the wind, right? You'd think the guy that was the prince, like this privileged person, privileged Harry was under duress and he put on an LA. Has no principles whatsoever. Poor Harry.
Can we get this video? I'm just going to look for it and see if I can find it. Because I want to see what he's saying. Because I haven't watched it. But I assume that he's having a laugh. I assume that he's being a little bit ironic.
He said he was given the tickets by the owner of the LA Dodgers. So that's why he felt that he needed to wear it. Guess what? I went to I was given tickets to go to a Flames game with one, like a higher up, and I wore my Oilers hat there. I didn't feel any duress to wear a Calgary Flames hat. I'm sure, Harry, you can stand on your own 2 feet. And just stop with the nonsense and tell your wife, Yoko Ono, to shut up. Oh my God, poor Harry. What a horrible
I've
life.
found it, but it's a lot of waffle by the looks of things. 2-minute
Poor
video.
Harry.
But
I mean, just poor Harry.
I would say, I mean, yeah, I found the link rumble, but I don't think there's any point in looking at it. It's just him waffling on as usual. But I would say I think he's being arch. I think he's having a laugh, and he's also being self-aware. I think because everybody knows, and he will know better than anyone, that he's been accused of being under duress by his wife, hasn't he? That's a lot of critics of Harry and what's she called again? Meghan. A lot of critics of those two blame Meghan for being some kind of evil, maleficent figure in the background. So I think he's probably alluding to that, isn't he? Cheeky.
Somebody said that I need to leave Yoko alone. Well, she's been left alone for long enough. There you go. BC News. We got some BC News for you.
Coming to you live from the Now Media Newsroom.
We did get an exclusive interview with the head of Interior Health, the new CEO, Sylvia Weir. I advise you to go watch it. It's a good interview. It's about 30 minutes, which is, it's great. They finally, that was after relentless pressure to get that interview, and we got it. And that relentless pressure to get Stephen Fuhr. We'll see if we get that. He's going to be a little bit more feisty if we do get him, though.
Yeah.
Forward to it.
I'm sure. But that would be good, though. That's what it's supposed to be like. It shouldn't always be like smiles and handshakes and flirting as it is, as you see with Mark Carney. There should be hard interviews. If anything, if we've taught people anything, it's that in other countries around the world, like England, for example, these interviews are quite sort of adversarial and confrontational, and it's for the good. It can be good.
Yeah. Stephen Fuhr and I know each other. We've had tons of chats with each other, but obviously he doesn't like that we criticize the Liberals. Imagine that. Right? Don't dare criticize.
And even then, that's a basic duty of anybody in the media, is to hold power to account. And it's not just the media. Politics, other institutions, we should all hold power to account. That's our secret sauce. That's why we call this a democracy. That's supposed to be our secret power as a culture, as a civilization. But if we're not doing that, or if we're not able to do that, then we lose that. We lose that sort of magic trick that we've had that's helped us so much over the centuries.
I'll tell you what, Stephen, if you give us $898,000 through news clippings for the Liberals, like they gave to the Hill Times there, if you give us $890,000 to do Hill, we'll host the party too, and then you can have Prosecco. We'll even bring out the bottles of Prosecco for you. How's that?
I'll make some sausage rolls.
Sausage rolls? Yeah, you know how to make sausage rolls. You're from the UK.
Yorkshire puddings and sausage rolls.
Anyway, Sean Fraser said he's happy with the Supreme Court decision on the ostriches. Let's have a look here what Sean had to say.
Here, the death of the ostrich cases, Minister of Justice, do you have any thoughts about the case not proceeding to the Supreme Court and whether the ostriches should end their lives?
Look, we obviously are pleased to see the decision of the Supreme Court. It's important that the Minister of Agriculture and CFIA are able to protect the health of the general Canadian public and of the food that we consume in the poultry industry as well. This is a decision that is following the science and evidence, and I'm sure my colleague who has conduct to file will have more to say today. Thanks so much.
You always use that word science. There you go. Here we go. And here's Scott Anderson, an MP, blasting the CFIA and the Liberal government on spending millions of dollars to conduct this. Let's just listen to what he has to say.
The Supreme Court ruling yesterday removed the last chance these decades-old ostriches had. And I sympathize with tens of thousands of Canadians who have been caught up in the drama unfolding on a farm in Edgewood, BC. For the past 10 months, this Canadian Food Inspection Agency operation has disrupted life in the peaceful town of Edgewood, BC, driven the farm deep into debt, and cost Canadian taxpayers millions of dollars in police overtime and agency costs. Perhaps most chilling has been the silence of both the Liberal Minister of Health and the Liberal Minister of Agriculture. They allowed this to drag out for far too long, keeping Canadians in the dark and even laughing at the plight of these people. Mr. Speaker, this is not how our government should treat our citizens. We still live in a democracy despite the Liberals' best efforts, and Canadians deserve to know what and why our government is up to.
And I'm going to say this here. In Kelowna, we had a problem a long time ago with people like to buy bunny rabbits at Easter. They would give them to their kids. They would buy these pet rabbits. And they would go and the pet stores would just buy loads of these rabbits, right? Because why not, eh? Because, you know, the people are going to buy them. So they load up for the Easter time, and they load up with these rabbits. And of course, what do people do with these rabbits? Are just like, the rabbit needs to go, because rabbits aren't really great pets, right? So they kind of like hop and poop, hop and poop, hop and poop. That's kind of their thing.
Twitch their nose. They do a lot of that.
You know, like cute little bunny rabbits. So they released them, and there was like, you know, rabbits doing what rabbits do. Rabbits procreate like none other.
Breed like rabbits.
And then so there was rabbits everywhere in Kelowna. Like, I mean, rabbits everywhere. Like, you go to the car dealers around Enterprise there was like rabbits gazillion. And then so, of course, people started complaining about these rabbits, like they're like vermin or something, these rabbits. So the city hired a contractor to go and exterminate the rabbits. I don't know if you remember this, but they caught one of the hired contractors boot stomping a rabbit.
Oh, dear.
Like literally boot stomping, killing the rabbits by stomping on them with their boots. And I would say this is pretty much on par, because they basically opened fire with just like, well, these and here's an image of it here. This is where they lay. They opened fire on these ostriches, just like it was just like a shooting gallery. Is that the most humane way you could have done this, CFIA and RCMP? Is this is what you want your legacy to be? You're right up there with the boot stomping rabbit guy. Just unbelievable, inhumane. You could have carted them off somewhere and done this humanely. This was not humane. This was, you could have put them in trucks and taken them to a slaughterhouse and done it humanely, instead of having them shriek around while they watch their other people. You know what I mean? Like, they were the ones that were shot last would have been watching this carnage. The fear that you would have put into these ostriches in their last moments. You talk about this Liberal government as humanity. Somebody needs to be fired for this. Somebody needs to be fired for this. Like a lot of people. Sean Fraser. Let's remember who Sean Fraser is. Sean Fraser, formerly was it first immigration minister?
Yeah, I think that was the order. Right? Immigration, then housing.
Go pull an immigration chart, Sean Fraser. That's you. That's you right there. I don't care if you blame it on your boss, whatever, that's you. Then make him the housing minister. What's housing minister like? How's housing doing? And then now he's justice minister. And then Lightning Rod says I'm exaggerating. Which part's exaggerating? Which part am I exaggerating? Which part would you think is exaggerating? The evidence is right there in front of your face.
I would just say as well, the some group, I'll find it. Yeah, the Investigative Journalism Foundation. They did a access to information thing, freedom of information request a while ago, and they found out that what's supposed to happen is 3 CFIA workers are supposed to hold the bird down, one is supposed to hold the head, and then they're supposed to, it says intracranial injection, so it's supposed to inject them in the head with some sort of, I don't know what this is, some sort of poison. And they said that would be quick and minimally stressful to the bird. Although it may be emotional for owners to watch, it says. But they didn't even do that. Like, yeah, that would be quite tough to watch. But the plan was that they weren't going to see it anyway. But it does look like, instead of doing that, all those gunshots that were heard, it looks like there's been some shootings. It's just strange that they didn't even follow their own manual.
I think anybody that's going to defend this is probably going to wear it later. So I would be careful about defending it.
Well, it's the callousness as well, isn't it? You said it. I mean, these people, the protesters, the owners, go on Facebook. They're all over Facebook. The videos are everywhere. You know, they're in tears. They're seriously traumatized and really, really upset about this. Like, you'd think that they would have shown a bit more tact try to do it a bit more quietly and
I don't know. I eat meat.
humanely.
That's not the point. That's not the point, Lightning Rod. It's not the point that you eat meat. The point is, are you okay with bunny stomping, like stomping on bunnies? Are you okay with just slaughtering like this? Is that okay for you?
But they weren't going to eat them anyway. I know not all animals are used for meat.
Just stop with
and the
liberal
relationship is obviously different. An animal that you don't eat, like a dog or something.
Stop with it making excuses for it. This was wrong. This was clearly wrong. Somebody needs to face the consequences for this. Just like they face consequences for stomping on a bunny.
It looks too messy and it looks aggressive, doesn't it? That's the other thing. It looks like angry, and it's like
it looks like
men in with guns and boots on, going killing animals. Like, it just looks wrong.
You dared stand up to the government. That's what you get. No different than that bakery in Victoria when her bank account was frozen for donating $250 to the Freedom Trucking Convoy. She was made a lesson. There was a lesson being taught there. That's okay if you don't think that bunny stomping is the same thing. We'll disagree there. And this is a bad look, a bad look. And we haven't really got involved in the Australian reporting on it, but I mean, whether or not they decided that this had to happen, then load them up in trucks, take them somewhere else, and deal with it just like you deal with cattle and stuff like that. Don't deal with it. You traumatize the owners, you traumatized everybody. Anyway.
And did they have to do it right away? I mean, that's the other thing. Did it have to be like hours later? It's just, callous. Callous is the word, I think. It wasn't handled by somebody that understands human emotions, I don't think.
I think it was done just intentionally. Anyway, I don't know the answer, but it's another shameful. But the trucker convoy going in there with horses like the Romans did too, again, an abuse of power and privilege, and that's been proven out too. That's been proven out. That's what the court said. It was unjustified to use the Emergencies Act on these peaceful protesters that had honking, noise violations and parking violations. Anyway, moving on. BC homeowners have no idea fee simple property is almost certainly overlapped by 200 plus. This thing is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. David Eby knows not what he has done, and he has opened up something that I don't think he knows how to put back in a box. David Eby has made a mess that is just unbelievable. Another more bad news. West Fraser closes Canadian and U.S. mills. West Fraser Timber permanent close both its Augusta, Georgia mill and the 100 Mile House BC lumber mills by the end of 2025, following what the company calls orderly wind down. The company said the decision announced November 6th is a result of timber supply challenges and soft lumber markets. And that's 300 workers and about a capacity of 300 million board feet. I mean, these communities, it's hard for them to survive these, because these are good paying jobs, right? The 100 Mile House will no longer be able to reliably access adequate volume of economically viable timber. This is the problem in British Columbia. This has been said over and over, and I did these stories a year ago. Access to fiber. That's it. Access to fiber. Access to fiber. Say it over and over again. Access to fiber. We have an interview coming up with the forestry critic here, and we'll try to get on the forest minister again. We got the old forest minister on, Bruce Ralston, but we'll do our best. We got the last segment here. We got lots of good stuff in your international media.
Coming to you live from the Now Media Newsroom.
You and I talk a lot of times about King Arthur and saying, I know that's mythical, but you'd say, like, what's going on in the UK right now? King Arthur might have stuck the sword back in the stone and says, I ain't doing this. But here it is from a veteran, a British veteran, saying basically what we say King Arthur would have said. Let's listen in.
What does Remembrance Sunday mean for you? What is your message?
My message is, I can see in my mind's eye those rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
What do you mean by that, though, at this point?
What we fought for And what we fought for was our freedom. We find that even now it's darn sight worse than what it was when I fought for it.
Oh, Alec, I'm sorry you feel like that, because I want you to know that all the generations that have come since, including me and my children, are so grateful for your bravery and all that for service personnel. And it's our job now, isn't it, to make it the country that you fought for. You absolutely fought for.
Is it.
And we will do. We want to...
I'm so wonderful to know there are people like you that can spread the word around.
We will do.
Younger generation.
And I guarantee that everybody watching at home will be wanting you to send lots of love. We've got another little bit special thing for you, Alex.
That's good. I don't think she gets what he's saying. I don't know if she gets what he's saying.
No. But I wonder what the reaction would be in, like, imagine if that was CTV or something, or CBC. What would the reaction be of the reporter if they even allowed somebody to utter a sentence like that in the first place? But
well,
no, I have to say, when I had that massive rant about this thing and all the show that people make of the poppies and how they love soldiers and veterans and things like that, even though they actually despise everything military and anybody that serves in the military. The reason I had such a hostile reaction to that is because I've spent my life speaking to people like that, veterans who wish they'd never gone, who look at the country and think, what is this garbage? Why did I go and get disabled or, lose a limb or something like that for this shite? And the poppy thing, that's just an opportunity for the kind of people that send them off to go and die or be wounded. It's an opportunity for them to say, look how great I am, look how much I love you. But the truth is, and I'm really, and I mean Second World War veterans as well. So many of them I've had conversations with over my life, and so many of them say the same thing. So it's a bit tiresome, really, isn't it? All this waving of the flag and the poppy stuff. It's just kind of like, if you're not willing to confront the reality of what these people actually feel, then what's the good of standing on your soapbox and pretending that you care about them?
I'm not surprised Lightning Ron doesn't get what he's saying. I'm not surprised. Anyway. Not surprised. You'll have to figure that one out yourself if you don't understand.
Just go and have conversations. I can't stress it enough. Have conversations with people.
I mean,
you really might. You might learn something. I mean, obviously, in this case, very sadly, that there aren't very many left now. But so you might have missed your chance, Lightning Rod. You should have done it 20 years ago or something like that. But yeah, there are other veterans. Speak to there'll be veterans from the Korean War. Canadians went and died in that war. Quite a lot of Canadians went and died in that war, even though they're just forgotten about now. It's just people pretend like it's just an American war. There'll be people veterans from that war still knocking around. In Afghanistan, I don't think I've ever spoken to an Afghanistan vet who's happy about that fiasco that they were thrown into.
Here's some memories. I mean, here's some thoughts for you. Here you go. A huge proportion of sex crime prosecution in English involve asylum seekers. Let's play this little clip here.
Pretend to be women.
So blokes are pretending to be women?
They say they are women, yes. Yes, so they could do, I think something that really struck me, so Eritrea, most of the African applicants now are pretending to be Eritrean because Eritrea is the country they can't be sent back to. So Nikki said you asked the nationality question. What's the capital of Eritrea? What's the flag of Eritrea? Guess what? They've managed to look it up on the internet. It's amazing. So they're all pretending to be Eritreans. The reason they can't go back to Eritrea is because Eritrea has enforced military conscription. What's that got to do with us?
Oh, hang on a minute. So we can't send people back to Eritrea because if we sent them back there, they'd have to serve in their military.
Yes, that's the reason.
That's good enough on that, too. But, I mean, England is like a lot of people are saying it's close to, I mean, it looks pretty bad there. I mean, you can tell us. You were there just recently.
Well, what you were going to say there, I think, if I may be so bold, I think you were going to say it's on the verge of some kind of civil conflict. Is that right? Is that what you're going to say? That's not just like a mad person on the internet says. Look up Professor David Betts from, I believe it's Imperial College London. I tried very, very hard to get an interview with him. sent many emails, but he was exceedingly busy. Look at what he's just written an article like last week, I think. And last year he started, or 2 years ago, he started to talk about this. Just see what he has to say about the possibility of conflict. This is a man who is like an internationally recognized expert on civil conflict around the world, places like Latin America. He thinks that. So it's not something to sort of like say under your breath. You know, real experts now are saying this. But yeah, Britain, this story here, what it's really about, there's a place in England called Dorset here. This is what it's about. Dorset's a county in the south of England. Very flash sort of place, very nice, lots of money. It gets the most sunshine in England. People go there on their hollybobs to the beach, places like Bournemouth. They got quite a lot of these asylum seekers, these people who are pretending to be Eritrean or they pretend to be whatever so that they can stay in England. They got quite a lot of them put in hotels. And according to that report from that woman, that reporter, she's got access to the data, I guess. 44% of active prosecutions for sex crimes concern these people, these men, who are, you know, they call them asylum seekers. They're not really asylum seekers. They're just trying to like game the system. But obviously that it doesn't, you know, you don't have to be Einstein to figure out that really upsets the British people. They're very, very pissed off about that. So that's kind of where it all comes from.
Breaking, I guess not breaking news anymore, but Elon Musk's pay package was approved, the largest pay package ever, which could turn out to be worth $1 trillion. It's not actual money, it's shares. And it's more about, for him, it's the control of the company as opposed to money. Some people will turn it into money. But sure, it has a value, but it has to hit so many things. Basically, it works for free unless he hits these markers. And if I said to most people, because most people are just, oh, that's terrible. If I said to most people that have, say, a net worth of $100,000, and I said, if I could get your net worth to $10 million in the next 5 years, can I have 10% of that? Most people would say, okay, that's all he's really doing, right? It's outlandish. And he's saying, can I have 10% of whatever I do if I make this company? It's not even 10%, I think it's like 1%. If I can have that, if I can take this company from here and 10x it. Are you good with that? Most people that had just a shred of common sense would say, uh-huh. And again, he's changing the world a lot of stuff. In his, I watched the full thing, obviously, a big fan, and I think he's the most consequential person on this planet. Talking about building a moon base that will have 1 million people on this moon base. Sign me up. I'll go.
Because he's on about doing quantum computing stuff there, isn't he? Because it's such a fragile technology. He wants to do that on the moon because obviously it won't be disturbed by anything in the atmosphere.
Here's the other thing. If you worry about climate change, and I do, I worry about it. I know you may think I'm climate grifting talking about it. I just think what they're doing is just figuring out ways to make money from it. Because I have solar on my roof, they have a few Teslas in our family and believe in it. And Elon Musk has solutions for a better world. But most of the people I talk to that are the adamant climate grifters, the screamers and screechers, won't even watch what Elon Musk has to say with real solutions, what he has to say. He can double the grid just with batteries, and most people won't even listen to it, right? So then right away I know they don't even want solutions. They want ways to make money. And that's what this Liberal government is doing right now with carbon capture and investment tax credit is just the next climate grift. And if you listen to Antonio Guterres there, we're going to hear him in a minute here, it's all about fundraising. It's all about raising money. And here we go. But let's just fly through some of this stuff for Tesla. Guess what's going to happen? The Tesla semi-truck will be rolling off the line here right away. They're going to start mass producing these things, mass production in 2026. That thing is going to change transportation. There you go. It's fully electric. And Bill Gates says these don't work. And Elon's like, you can ride in a truck. They're actually out there working right now. Pepsi has Frito-Lay have a fleet of these already. Also, beginning in 2026, April, Cybercab production will begin. These are no steering wheel, no pedals, no nothing. Also, here they gave us a look at the Optimus production line that they're going to have. They say that you're going to have an Optimus for $20,000 US. Wow. Crazy. I'll take two.
What does that mean? COGS?
Cost of goods sold per
right.
robot. So it probably won't sell for that, but that'll be the cost of goods sold. Fed Chair Powell said on CNBC that every bank can now offer Bitcoin. In Canada, Bitcoin the devil. Anyway, gold devil, Bitcoin devil. Digital currency for the digital ID, that's what we want. I don't think Canada, if they don't like Elon Musk, they're going to hate Alex Karp. Let's listen to Alex Karp. Alex Karp is like Elon Musk on steroids.
And I think the average, Ivy League grad voting for this mayor is highly annoyed that their education is not that valuable. And the person down the street who knows how to drill for oil and gas, who's moved to Texas, has a more valuable profession. And I think that annoys the fuck out of these people.
Well, we've been saying similar to that. Like that's the story, isn't it? Yeah. What I was ranting about earlier. That's the story of why government workers that don't do anything important get paid twice the salary of soldiers who do something important. That's what happens because they got hold of the apparatus itself, and they said, "Okay, I'm going to give myself this salary, and I'm going to make sure that you, Mr. Important, get no money at all."
Alex Karp runs Palantir. And, like at $10 a share, they were saying that it was a worthless company. Well, it turns out not so worthless. Almost every government in the world wants this software now, and it's running most of the security everywhere. And Alex is very particular of who he gives his software to, right? It's kind of like Elon Musk. He doesn't want it to be used for killing people. He'll use it for defense, but it does power a lot of the military. And Alex Karp, I think the stock's banging on the door 200, or it's already been over 200. But this guy, if you've never heard of Alex Karp, go listen to some of what he has to say. You like what we and Iain are doing? You're going to love Alex Karp.
He's a cheeky fella, isn't he?
He makes Elon Musk look like a liberal. Elon Musk is literally a liberal, though, if you think about it.
Certainly that was all he was once upon a time, yeah. I mean, I think he's, out of anger, he's kind of adopted some other positions now, but yeah.
Before we show this image, before you show it though, I asked Iain this yesterday. How many years do you think it takes to refuel? How many years can an aircraft carrier, a nuclear aircraft carrier, go without refueling? Or a nuclear sub? How many years do you think it can go without refueling? You just think about that, come up with an answer in your head. Turns out it's 20 years. And that's Canada buying diesel subs. Even Australia is buying a nuclear sub from the Americans. We're outfitting our military with equipment that's in the lower echelon.
The Chinese just launched an aircraft carrier as well. I think maybe even today.
They've got a few of them.
Called the Fujian.
I think they bought their first ones used from none other than the Russians.
No surprises.
Canada, how many aircraft carriers does Canada have? 0. We wouldn't even have the planes to put on there. They'd say, why do you want an aircraft carrier? Sydney Sweeney, you wanted me to put this in here. Look at Sydney Sweeney's in an interview with I would say somebody's her polar opposite. Like it's the bizarro interview. Listen to Sydney Sweeney here.
The criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
That was funny, wasn't it? The body language is the funniest thing there, for my money.
The look on her face is just like, like, here's your chance to apologize for saying you have good genes. She's like, get lost.
But also, like, what's implied in that question by the little shy squirrel that's asking that question, which she struggled so much to get out, which is just so emblematic of that ideology, isn't it? It's just such a mess. But what's the implication? Like, as a white person, you shouldn't be talking about having superior genes. Why is that? What, are white people superior or something? Is that what you're saying? What's in your head? What is in your head, you little freak? And that is obviously why she's like, like squirming, and she's struggling so much. And then Sydney Sweeney, I mean, I don't give a shit about Sydney Sweeney, to be honest. She's all over the world now, but it's so funny to see this reaction because she also doesn't stumble. I mean, it's like a perfect scene. It's almost like a scene out of a film, isn't it? She just says it very clearly. She doesn't use like or go or anything like that. She just says it clearly and looks, even her posture and everything. It's just like it's like two ideologies represented by kind of physical emblems.
And that's what I mean. And they tried to cancel her for that ad on American Eagle. They tried to cancel her. Instead, they turned her into a massive star. They turned her into this massive star. They tried to do the same thing with Joe Rogan. They turned him into an icon, right? They turned him into the most powerful voice on the internet. Good job. Good job. You know what also Sydney Sweeney can do? She can throw a ball. She can shoot a gun. She can fix a car. You've seen some other people stand at the mound there throwing a ball. Let's listen to Sydney Sweeney. You've seen some of them. Let's just put Taylor Swift up there and throw a ball. Let's see. Let's go, Sydney. Throw that ball.
Actress and producer, Beth Lizzo, and native of Spokane, Washington, Sydney Sweeney. Okay, Sydney, how about this?
She's just a fun-loving girl. I coach ball. I coach girls ball, and I can tell you, it's a tough thing to do if you don't know how to throw a ball, right? Hand mechanics and whatever, body mechanics. Teach your kids young. It's important to get them out there when they're really young. I took all my coaching levels from an Olympic coach, and saying it's so important as their growth plates are coming in to get them to play as many sports as possible if you want them to reach their full athletic potential.
Which is also important to their overall potential, really. Sport is important to who you become. Yeah.
Physical wellness is mental wellness. That's what they should, the little climate change girl, they should just invest in a gym pass. You don't need climate stuff. Just turn the television off and invest in a gym pass. How's that? Gym pass. You can watch me and Iain.
Gym pass, yeah. That's what we should sell. We should sell gym passes spelled J-I-N.
Here we go. COP30. We got some stuff for climate change is unarguable. Well, we're going to argue it. There you go. Let's play this little clip.
Climate change is unarguable. The science is undeniable. Temperatures are rising and the clock is ticking. If we are not prepared to tell our citizens the truth about this, we are failing them and this planet in the most profound way. Science cannot be denied.
That's good. That's good.
Sounds like he's from Newfoundland.
I would say you got to rate all these speeches at COP and see who is the most virtuous. That's what you got to do. You got to rate these speeches. And guess who didn't show up at theirs? America. In any way, China. They didn't. The largest economies didn't go.
But that's exactly the point I was going to make. But from the other angle, which is who shouts loudest, who makes the most noises. Oh yeah, Ireland has 5 million people. It's a tax haven. So they just take loads of American companies and shield them from taxation. So it's like an entirely services-based economy. Has no military, but still likes to talk about military affairs and Israel, Palestine, and all this bollocks. And obviously has no industry, really. So produces no emissions. And then gets up there and says, all of you there better stop with your industry. Every single one of you. It's like, well, how's this going to affect you, Mickey? You got tell me, please. Michael, inform me. What is it? It's the same old bollocks.
See, in the interest of time, we're going to skip by a few of these, and we're just going to go right to Justin Trudeau because he's looking for back. He's trying to get back to his fame, and here he is. He's trying to get you to get your COVID and flu shot. He's encouraging you to do the same. So there you go. Here's Justin. He's got his tattoo on there too. And have we got that? Oh, he doesn't have the slide. Come back to that. How about, do you have the McDonald's cat? Okay. Well, Justin Trudeau was there he's pushing his COVID vaccine and flu shot today. He's just, but this one here is just as good. We'll end with this, I think, because why not?
Hey, stop!
Oh my gosh.
Is that a cat? Stop right there. Hey, sir, ma'am, somebody grab it. Hey! Wow!
No way.
There you go.
These videos are cracking me up. The best McDonald's one, it's either the Michael Jackson one, where he comes and steals the burger and goes like, tee hee hee, and then like spins out, or it's the Stephen Hawking one. When that's there's so many Stephen Hawking ones, though, to be fair.
Someone sent me one today, because I'm a Tesla fan, of a Tesla with a diesel generator on the roof with a cord running from the generator into the back of the car, with black smoke pouring off the roof. But here's some EV news. I don't know if we have this picture or not, but Ford is considering canceling its electric F-150 Lightning. It says demand is not there. But hey, Canada, keep the EV mandate in place and see how many auto manufacturers will be left here in Canada. Just keep it there. It'll help. You know, all these automakers in the U.S., the Stellantis, Ford, GM, and that, all looking at their strategies here, their EV strategies, and really going all in on hybrids. But you keep the EV mandate and see how many auto workers you keep, or auto manufacturers you keep here in Canada. Even Honda halted its EV plant. Just keep it up.
But there is no plan to get rid of it.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
keep it
that's
up.
progressing extremely slowly, isn't it? Unless Carney is saying behind the scenes, which would be very dishonest. Behind the scenes, he's saying to the car manufacturers, like, don't worry, like, I'm not gonna.
They won't take that, though.
That's gonna stay paused.
Yeah, but they won't take that, though, because they got to make decisions, and the shareholders vote on those decisions. And if that's out in the public, if that's out in the public sphere, and out here you have the United States says, come here, we'll fast track you, no EV mandates, and we'll let you write off your equipment on Carney Match. That great, but where would they go? Where's the market too? No tariff problems, right? There's no market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Figure it out.
Carrot and stick. That's the thing, isn't it?
Figure it out. Yeah, in Canada we have stick, right? Just like beating them on the head.
The guilt stick, the tax stick.
It's nothing but stick. But hey, just keep it up. See what happens. Or, you know, I think we're going to build a space agency, I understand. And we're going to build a car manufacturing plant. I'll wait over here. I'll be ready to report on it when you launch your first car. When? Anyway, that's our show for the week. That's it for the week. So we're back on Monday, and then Tuesday's obviously Remembrance Day. We'll be live streaming the Remembrance Day ceremonies here in Kelowna from the Cenotaph, and that's it. I don't think I have any. Oh, I do have one more interview. I have somebody from the Canadian Home Builders Association here in Kelowna here at 4 o'clock. So other than that, that's all I have right now. And maybe Stephen Fear is going to call in. He's probably going to want to yell at us. Why not?
Missing in action. What? I don't think you will, though, to be fair. But if you feel like it, Steve, do it.
I'll take your call. How's that? I'll take your call. I won't let you go 7 emails later, and one even that I begged. You can even share that one where I begged you just for a private meeting. I don't care. Anyway, thank you for watching Now Media.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent. News you can trust.